Hello and welcome to our tarot reading for the week of March 19th to 25th, 2023. This week we have the spring equinox. We have a new moon in Aries that's coinciding with the time of the equinox, roughly speaking. And we also have a Pluto moving into Aquarius this week. It's going to be a short foray before it retrogrades back into Capricorn again in June. But rest assured that all of this is very monumental energy for new beginnings, and for this is a real opening up of new possibilities and new things, and also this is definitely the beginning of the end of an old way of doing things. Now, one of the things we see with Aquarius, and I see a lot of Aquarian energy in this reading, and I feel like it's referencing the kind of energy that's going to bring. And that's largely an energy of, anything that you've been hanging on to, that you've kind of had a nostalgia for, a fondness, an emotional attachment that is no longer, that needs to be out of your life for whatever reason, or needs to be transformed into something else. This is going to be the moment of coming home, I guess you could say. So that's very, very heavily reflected in all aspects of this reading. So let's go through what we have here. First, we've got the Tarot Oscura by Estelle Riviere, which is a beautiful deck that I love. The Osho Zen Tarot. We've got the Celtic Tree Oracle. We have the Antarian Oracle, which is mine. We have the this is the Dark Goddess Oracle. This is Voices of the Dark Mothers. The Essential Oil Oracle, Moonology, Wisdom of the Tao, and then we also have the Norse Rune. Okay, so let's start with tarot as always. So we have the Queen of Swords with the Eight of Wands in the World. Now these two cards, Eight of Wands, of course, is a very fiery card. It's definitely this idea of fast movement, of messages coming in, of rapid change, rapid and sudden change, okay? And, some people also call this card the Arrows of Love. Sometimes that it does indicate new relationships very suddenly coming in. And with the World, there's this idea of not only of accomplishment and successful completion of something, but there's also this idea of broadening our horizons, of integrating our experience and being able to share, to branch out. There's a very a strong energy of accomplishment and branching out with this card. So we have this kind of very strong, it's almost, to me, there's almost like a Jupiter type energy to this card in the way in which it brings a wisdom, and also in the way in which it is expansive. Now, this card, again, this is very, very heavy fire, and we're moving into this Aries period. But here's our Aquarian energy here, the Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords is a take no BS person. Could be an actual person who might be Aquarius or another air sign. But this is definitely the idea of detaching, okay? Detaching, taking a clinical, cold look at things, and pulling back and making sure that you are not you need to analyze very carefully what it is that you're doing and what you're hanging on to, because this new beginning and this finishing up of the past and moving very quickly into this new future, this new area, is going to require that you're not holding on to things, that you're not attached to things. Otherwise, this could be a rather bumpy ride if you're not willing to take a step back from things. Now, if we look at the Celtic Tree Oracle over here, we have the Spindle card, which has to do with, the way in which, actually, it's also a card of finishing. It's a card of finishing, and it's time to bring something to completion. But there's also the sense with Spindle that you should do something. There's a lot of things that we end up doing in our lives and along the way that we may feel it's like our duty or our chore or something that we have to do. And Spindle is very much a card of doing things because you want to, like enjoying the ride, enjoying the work. This should not be something, this should be work that you undertake joyfully, not work that is like, oh God, there should be a joyous and a playful element to it. And then with the Ash card, Ash has to do with broadening your context. This is actually the card that has to do with the month of March. And it's, and there's this idea of branching out, of new contexts, new opportunities, new things. So there's definitely, again, we have this sense of, we're finishing something up here, and this is opening up new possibilities here. Just like we see this, cut to it, get rid of what needs to be gotten rid of, get yourself organized because this is coming. Okay, so definitely that's being affirmed here by the Celtic Tree Oracle. The Rune of Antares in the Antarian Oracle, this is a card of blending of opposites. It's about dealing with paradoxes. So and it brings that extra last dose of strength to people who are trying to get over the finish line, as it were. So again, there's this idea of integration. This is very similar to Temperance in its inflection. So yeah, again, there's this idea of something's finished over here, and also over here, and and there's going to be things that are left, pieces that need to be fit in to the puzzle, things that may challenge you, the things that may seem very opposite that are also both true at the same time. And this is about needing to sit back, and even if you need to take some time out to do that, just take some time just to reflect and to integrate all of this material. And this does give you the strength to do that. This is like that extra push over the cliff, as it were. I know I sound like Spinal Tap there. These go to 11. There's definitely a sense here of, you are having the strength here. You have the strength, and you want to make sure that you are in balance with yourself, that you are, and you're able to accept. I think the one thing about paradoxes too that's not always clear is that we need to accept that sometimes two opposite things can be true at the same time. It's more about flowing into the situation and allowing it, rather than trying to play mental gymnastics with it and trying to force it into some kind of a mold. I think a lot of the paradoxes that we have right now, it's going to be, as we see things unfold in the future, we'll see how all these pieces actually do fit together into one puzzle. Now we have the Trust card down here in the Osho Zen deck. I like this card a lot. This is the idea of taking this leap of faith. And yeah, I think this is going to be true for a lot of people, because there's this sense of needing to detach, needing to let go of these energies, and you may be moving into territory, and you may not want to move into this territory because you may feel that you are, I don't know what's next. I want to stick with what's comfortable. I know that this always worked for me. So the Trust card is saying, it's not going to, there's going to be a new way. You'll see what that way is. So you simply need to trust in where you're going. Don't worry about the fact that you don't know every step on the road at this point. This is definitely not a time to be focused on outcomes, because the nature of the game is going to be very, very different, at least for this short period of time. Okay, up here we have the Isis card from this Dark Goddess Oracle. The Isis card here is about taking responsibility for your actions, and it's also about not behaving like a martyr. This card shows up when we have a tendency to project our problems onto others, or we tend to get ourselves immersed in the problems of other people in order to avoid our own. So don't get into, if you're spending a little bit too much time focused on what's happening with somebody else and worrying about them, it's really time to let that go. Other people need to take responsibility for their own path. And sometimes, again, we may get too interested in somebody else's problems. It could be in the name of friendship, in the name of love. And, sometimes it's the thing that parents do, as they say, well, I want to do this in your best interest. No, you don't need to martyr yourself for somebody else. You need to worry about you right now. And that's where the focus squarely needs to be. Similarly, we have the Durga card over here in Voices of the Dark Mothers. And Durga, this refers to what are you fighting for? What is the thing that you are, Durga is a warrior. What is it that you're fighting for? What, you're looking out the world, and, and we may be looking at things in a very, very negative light. But I feel like this is a card that says, it's about getting your fight on. It's that extra burst of energy that we see over here. So again, we're taking the emotional component out of it. We're taking the excuses. We're taking the victimhood out. This is about, all that's got to let go. Even if you were a victim in the past, even if something, even if there's a situation where you feel that, perhaps things were not justified, at the moment, you need to drop all of that, because you don't want that kind of situation to be holding you back from where you're going. I feel like there's a somewhat similar energy to these. They're not saying quite the same thing, but I do feel like there's this idea of, decide what it is that you're going to be working on and fighting for. And to that end, we have also the essential oil oracle here. Our card is focus, and the keyword is empowered. The trigger statement is I don't want to be here. The true statement is I'm exactly where I need to be. And it says you're ready to allow the energy from the divine and Mother Earth to fuel you as you fulfill your potential here. Yeah. So in other words, if you're evaluating things and there are things that you're not in a place where you want to be yet, you don't know yet what the outcome is, right? That's fine. You are exactly where you need to be. Even if you feel stuck at the moment, even if things are not clear, it doesn't matter. You still want to be focused on where it is that you're looking to go and what feels right about where you're going. Again, there's this idea of empowered. There's empowerment here. There's empowerment here. There's this idea of, this is not a time, again, you have that detached Aquarian energy. This is not a time for us, we sometimes, we all do it. We all have these times where we feel sorry for ourselves. We have these times where we feel like, the weight of the world is on our shoulders. And it's like, well, it's time to throw that off and just take responsibility for what exactly it is that we're trying to do right now. Okay. So again, that kind of cold, well, not that all I don't want to say Aquarians are cold. They're actually Aquarians by personality are often very, very friendly people and very talkative people. But there is this kind of clinical, like, okay, we're going to, just razor-like, we're going to cut out this thing that isn't helping us move into the direction that we need to move. So we need to get rid of any of those kinds of emotions of compromise, as it were, right now. And here we have, even though we're not having a full moon in Aquarius right now, we have this full moon in Aquarius card. Yeah, show the world can't even talk. Show the world the real you. Say that 10 times fast. So yeah, and this is also a card of detachment. It's saying step back from what it is that you're doing. Step back, and again, there's this idea of broader context. Step back and look at the big picture. This is not you want to step back from something because you may be looking at something from a position of attachment, and that attachment may be blinding you to what the bigger picture is and what's really going on. And of course, the component of show the world the real you. This is also about stepping into your truth and into your power, right? We see this idea of empowerment. It's this idea of Durga with justice, moving into where your fight is. And and doing so unapologetically. This is not a time to say yes, but what is this person going to think? What is my family going to think? What is my my peers going to think? Or it's time to figure out. You're at a point now where you're going to know. You're going to see more of who you are, and it's time to step into that in the best way possible. Okay, so there's a need to take a step back. Similarly, here with this intrigue card. This is the monkey card in the Wisdom of the Tao. And this is a card also of needing to stand back and look for the bigger picture. It's saying you may not want to make a move on certain things yet. I mean, things will move on their own fast enough. You just need to, you can take a risk, okay? And, you do risk, taking a loss if you do, although it says even in doing so, you can still learn something. So, it's not necessarily, a terrible thing if you do that. But, but this is the idea of stop, look, listen, look at the bigger picture, because there may be things going on that that are just not in your purview right now. And you may be seeing the situation or trying to make decisions based on information, based on a very small view of what's going on. You may be looking at something through a microscope, and you need to step back and look at what the whole picture looks like. And if you don't know what that looks like yet, you can rest assured it's going to be revealed very, very soon. Finally, we have our Norse rune, which is Ingus, and we've gotten this one a couple of times. Again, completion of beginnings. This is a rune of harmony, of working together. It's akin to the moon. So the moon, of course, has that element of uncertainty to it. But there's definitely this idea that it's, you definitely want to have this sense of completion. You want to be, get ready to move into the next thing, by letting go and being willing to just go with the flow of whatever's going on, without always having to evaluate or understand. That's one of the elements I find of the moon in general is that there's an understanding that is not about analysis. It's just feeling the rightness of things, or the rightness of a particular situation, and saying, okay, this is where I need to be. This doesn't feel right anymore. Okay, I can let go of this. This is where I'm headed. So overall here, yeah, we've got the very, very strong message from the cards this week that, you need to take up a new path with trust, and look at the bigger picture. Again, if you're feeling stressed about certain things, it may be that you don't have all the information yet. Stop, listen. Don't be ready to charge ahead immediately, because there may be some work that needs to be done, some more things that maybe need to be cut out of the picture in order for you to be able to move ahead. So that is our overall message for this week. Happy spring to everybody, and or Ostara, if that's what you like to call it. And I will see you next week.